name's Jamie Lee, and today I'll be doing a review of the Barbie movie. It's no secret that this was my most anticipated movie of the year. Ever since I knew that this was going to be a thing, I've pretty much been plugging it because I love Barbies. I love the message behind Barbies, and it was such a huge part of my childhood growing up that carried through into my adulthood, so much so that my favorite wedding present was from my mum, and it's a wedding set Barbie, and it's displayed in my room because I don't want my daughter to open it like she tries to with that one there. But anyway, I love Barbies. I love the message behind Barbie, so I knew that I would enjoy this movie, and I did. The opening of this movie is exactly what we saw in the teaser trailers, where you've got that space odyssey landscape, you've got the little girls with doll fashion sense, and they're playing with baby dolls, and Helen Mirren is narrating over the top, saying that these dolls were designed with children to imagine themselves as mothers. But what if there was something more? What if there was a doll where you could be anything that you wanted to be? Anyone who you wanted to be, you could imagine it. And then in comes Margo Robbie as this gorgeous life-sized Barbie doll, and I think it's super fitting that the start of this movie is the start of this doll. This was the OG doll back in 1959, so I thought that was a really good tribute to start off this movie. We're then blessed with being introduced to Barbie in Barbie Land, and this was a dream come true for me. Words can't describe how I felt seeing that come to life on the big screen. It's kind of like seeing Star Wars for the first time on the big screen, or dinosaurs, or whatever it is you're into. That's what I'm into, and that's what I enjoyed seeing. The production design, the set design of that was incredible. You know, if you look at a Barbie dream house, that is it on screen. That is exactly how it looks in my lounge room on screen. It's so incredible. If you have a Barbie dream house like we do, you would totally appreciate all the fine details that went into making this look and feel exactly like a Barbie dream house. An example of that is with the shower. We have a shower, you know it's a shower because it makes the noises of water running, but no water comes out, exactly like it did on screen. And then in the kitchen, as the cupboards, you've got the stickers that are literally stuck onto the plastic, and it's like the fruit or the cereal boxes or whatnot. But then you can also physically open the fridge. You can actually do that, and that's exactly how it looked with Barbie on the screen. Another cute little touch was seeing Barbie float down from the top floor to the ground floor. As we know, there's no stairs in the Barbie dream house. There's only, you know, slides and dance floors and pink. Everything is pink. Everything looked like a dream, and I loved it. But I understand that this movie is not for everybody, and when I left the premiere I said that this is going to be a very divisive movie, but it is for me. It is a tribute to my childhood. It is a tribute to my life and how I played, and the relationship between me and my mum playing. You know, she let me be creative. She let me imagine these dolls as whatever I wanted them to be, which later carried through to life, where she let me decide on who I wanted to become and what I wanted to be or do in life. And the first half an hour of the movie alone showed me that there is a Barbie for everybody. There's a plus size Barbie, there's a mermaid Barbie, there's a brunette, there's a lawyer Barbie, there's a Dr. Barbie, there's a Barbie in a wheelchair. And by the end of the movie, the message is so much bigger than that, that you are not actually defined by one type of Barbie. You're not defined by one thing that makes you you. You aren't just the girl in the wheelchair. You've got many qualities and many skills, and who you are inside makes you the person that you are, not the one thing that you're defined by. And that is such a beautiful message. Every Barbie in this movie was equally as beautiful and as respected as the next, just for being who they are. And really, the point of the whole movie to me is that should correlate with life. That is exactly how life should be. We should all treat each other as beautiful people, and we should all respect everybody as people and for who they are. It was also a really beautiful tribute to Ruth, the creator of the Barbie doll, and also really good to see for the older generation who used to play with Barbies, to see those discontinued Barbies on the screen. I didn't play with half of the Barbies that were on the screen there because they were discontinued before my time, but even the other day, one of my friends showed me this group of Barbies that she'd been given, and they were from like the 60s and the 70s, and they had fluoro clothing, the permed hair, the big dangling fluoro earrings, and it was so cool to see these things from the 70s because it was like, I haven't seen those dolls before. I never played with them because it was before my time. So it was really cool to see how the dolls and the fashion have both evolved over time. So in the plot, a rift between Barbie land and the real world becomes apparent when Barbie starts getting cellulite and has these thoughts of dying. annoying. And we learned that Barbies are tethered to their real world counterparts. So the people that play with them in the real world, they're somehow connected to these Barbies in a way. So Barbie's counterpart in the real world is feeling sad, and there's repercussions of that for Barbie in Barbie Land. Her perfect world is out of balance. Everything's out of whack. She can feel the cold shower, the milk has expired, and most importantly, she's got flat feet, which we know Barbie dolls don't have. They have the pointed toes. Well, now they come flat-footed a little bit. They've changed over time, but again, evolution of time, evolution of fashion, evolution of the doll. But yeah, Barbie's world is all out of whack, so she needs to go and figure out why and how to fix it. So she heads to Weird Barbie Land. And I call it Weird Barbie Land because even though technically she did live in Barbie Land, Weird Barbie lived up on her own little hill in her own little house because she was secluded because she was weird. But I loved seeing how we got Weird Barbie because again, that was super relatable because it was something that everybody who's played with a Barbie doll has done. You've cut their hair, you've drawn on them, and having that scene where we saw Gloria cutting Barbie's hair and drawing on her with Spice Girls pumping in the background, it was so 90s. It was so relevant to me because Barbie and Spice Girls were my two main things. My room was hot pink. There was Spice Girls posters everywhere. There was Barbie dolls everywhere. Like that was my childhood. So again, to see and hear that on screen, it was just perfect for me. It's just another way to express yourself creatively. Like my daughter has this thing at the moment with Wednesday. So every doll is getting the pigtails like Wednesday. And I don't know if you can see, but she's got like black lipstick on and black eyes because, you know, Wednesday. And then she's got another doll here that's got a monobrow. Can you see that there? Why not? Just cause, you know what I'm saying? And then the Barbie, which I'm really glad because this is one of my favorite Barbies. Look at her beautiful colors there. Oh, she's so stunning. Hello, Dua Lipa. Anyway, this one has tattoos. I don't know if you can see that there. Why? Because Mummy's got tattoos. So why not draw tattoos on your Barbies? Like, you can just be so creative with these things. And I love that I was allowed to do that. And I love that my daughter now has the freedom to, you know, use her imagination and be as creative as she wants with these dolls. Sorry, I'm going off topic there. Barbie goes to Weird Barbie for some help to figure out why she's having these thoughts of death, why she's getting cellulite, because heaven forbid you get cellulite. And Weird Barbie gives her the Matrix treatment. You know, you got the red pill or the blue pill. I haven't watched the Matrix, but I got the joke. What are you going to pick? The high heels, duh. No, you have to pick the tough path first. Anyway, so Barbie goes on this journey into the real world to repair this rift that has come between the two realities. And sorry, I'm going to gush again over some more scenes because journeying to the real world was absolutely beautiful to see on screen because it looked fantastic. And again, it was a tribute to all of these vehicles that we have played with in our life. I've got some of them here. You know, you've got the bike that was in the scene. I don't have the camper van. That's a little bit big to bring in. But you had the camper van. You had the snowmobile, which we didn't actually get, or maybe we didn't get them here because it was Australian. You had the rocket ship. You had the plane that she had a tribute to, you know. You had the car. I've got the Chelsea car here, but you know what I mean? Like all these vehicles. And even before that, we had the Barbie care vehicle, the ambulance, and, you know, Ken went there when he was injured. So we got to see all these vehicles and these accessories that have been a part of the Barbie world. So that was a beautiful touch for me to see on screen as well. It's when we get to the real world that this deep message about our society and the realities of women in society really come to fruition. Barbie's trying to figure out how to find her counterpart, and Ken explores the real world and discovers patriarchy. And we learn from both of their experiences in the real world that sometimes real life can be sad, shitty, and also scary at times. As soon as Barbie entered the real world, she was sexualized and made out to be this sexual object purely because she was attractive. And Ken went and learned all these misconceptions about women and men and how men should treat women or how men should just be, like what their identity as a man is. So it's really scary and it went to a really deep place. So in the plot, Barbie is kidnapped by Mattel, taken back to be reprogrammed to go back to Barbie Land. And it's here where we meet Gloria, who is the lady behind the designs. She is designing Barbie, and she is also Barbie's counterpart, which we later come to learn. And it's also here where we meet Will Ferrell's character, who is the Mattel CEO, and he has this board of executives who are also all male. And this is really addressing the gender issue side of things. Like the ideal target audience for Barbies is females, little girls, mums, things like this. Sure, there's men that play with them and there's boys that play with them, and I'm not saying there shouldn't be, but the target audience is for females, and yet the panel is all male. So there's no female influence here, and they even are so self-aware of this that they take the piss out of it. They're like, well, we've had more than one female CEO here before, taking the piss out of the fact that it's male run. In the real world, things are still sometimes male led. So that scene specifically deals with gender issues in society and how, you know, women should have equal rights, but sometimes that's not the case. So the scenes with the Mattel staff are very self-aware and kind of take the piss of themselves and take the piss of corporate greed in a way. There's a scene there with Gloria and she's talking about having an everyday Barbie, and the CEO of Mattel is like, that's absurd, that's a stupid idea. And then one of the execs are like, sir, that could make us a lot of money. And he's like, let's do it. Like, they're really taking the piss out of the fact that all of these big corporations, all that they really care about is making more money and introducing new things and better things in order to make money, which is another very serious or another deep topic that I feel was addressed in this movie really well. Next up, I wanted to talk about Ken, and not just the fact that Ryan Gosling absolutely smashed it at portraying Ken. Like, every scene that he was in, he was hilarious. He stole the show, but also the story arc of Ken.
So cool.
Prior to going to the real world, Ken had no identity. He was literally a sidekick to Barbie. He sings about being just Ken because that is what he was created as, just a sidekick to this iconic doll. And when he goes to the real world, he has no identity. He doesn't know who he is without Barbie, to the point where when he gets arrested, literally on the mugshot, it says, and Ken, because that's what he is, Barbie and Ken. He was always just created as this sidekick, but when he goes to the real world, he gets an identity. He read these books, he absorbed real life, and he took all that in and then went back to Barbie land and made an impact. He completely transformed Barbie land into Kendom. He turned the Barbie houses into these mojo dojo man caves or whatever he called them. He made the Kenemies friends. You know, all the boys came together to be bros or whatever. And he transformed the women into being these sexy housewives that just cook, clean, and bring the boys beers. I don't believe in the patriarchy structure, and I don't believe that what Ken did was right. But my point was, he didn't have an identity. He didn't know who he was without Barbie. And he went and by himself learned and absorbed all these things and came back and made a difference to people's lives. He made an impact in life as himself, as Ken. In the finale, we get to see Barbie have that full circle moment where she really discovers who she wants to be and what she wants to become in life. And hopefully we get to see that with Ken, because I feel like this was like a tiny little introduction, because this movie is all about Barbie. The whole point of this movie was about this specific doll, this specific woman evolving into who she wanted to be. But I feel like the way that they included Ken is a little introduction to hopefully see Ken go on that same journey of self-discovery in future spin-offs. Because the same message that's ringing for the Barbies is also ringing for the Kens, because it's super inclusive. It doesn't matter what gender you are, the message is clear that you can be whoever you want to be and you can choose to do whatever you want to do in life, which is why the finale was such a huge payoff for me, because I feel like it came full circle with that message. Barbie went to the real world. She experienced all these emotions. She got to see how, as I said before, scary, how sad and how messed up the world can be, but yet she still wanted to be a part of it. She wanted to be human. She wanted to be more than this doll who was pigeonholed by a profession or an appearance or a mixture of the things. She wanted to become a human and be more than just an idea in a box. She wanted to be the one imagining and creating these things for herself as a human. In the finale, we get Ruth holding hands with Barbie, and we see this montage of her, I guess, passing on these memories of what it's like to be a woman and motherhood and all the joys of being a woman. And that was a beautiful moment there. I don't think there was a dry eye in the cinema. If you know a woman, if you are a woman, it was a really beautiful touch to see that on screen there. And then we get the final cut there where Barbie is walking out and you think, oh, maybe she's going to be the next female CEO of Mattel or something. But no, she walks into the gynecologist office as Barbara. And that was a beautiful moment because she is acknowledging and accepting and really proud to simply just be a woman. And that is totally okay to just be a woman. I think it's also a really funny callback because in the movie we have that funny scene where Barbie is sexualized by these men and she's like, I don't have any genitals. And then Ken's like, I do. I've got all the genitals. So then that was a really funny throwback to acknowledge that she actually has these female body parts now. Which leads me to the last thing that I want to talk about in my video, which was the comedy. I thought this movie was really funny. A lot of it related to me as a woman, maybe in the era that I was growing up in. I'm not quite sure, but I found so much of these jokes funny and they really did land with me. My first example is when the Barbies were trying to distract the Kens. Those scenes were very relatable because as a woman, I myself have told men that I haven't watched The Godfather, and literally when you tell a guy that you haven't watched Star Wars or The Godfather or any of these iconic movies, you suddenly know the plot of these iconic movies because they just go into detail and they geek out over these things, which is gorgeous. Then they make fun of the trope where, you know, a guy finally sees that a girl's beautiful when she takes her glasses off or like puts her hair back. You know, they suddenly are like, wow, she's so beautiful. They take the piss out of these things, and these are things that happen in real life. They're quite funny. Another super relatable thing is the girls distracting the guys with playing guitar. Every girl likes it when guys play guitar for them. It is just a thing. I don't know why it's a thing, but it's a thing. And so to see Ryan Gosling sitting there, or all of the Kens really sitting there playing Push by Matchbox 20, just the way that Ryan sounded like Rob Thomas was hilarious. I was in tears. I was crying over that singing scene. I thought it was great. And probably the best line of the whole movie was when Barbie was crying because she didn't feel beautiful enough. She didn't feel beautiful to be stereotypical Barbie, and she was crying and having a tanty over that. And Helen Mirren is like, they probably should have cast somebody else to make that more believable. Like, it was so in your face, so witty, and so self-aware, because there's literally not a person in the world, I don't think, who would not find Margo Robbie beautiful. Like, it was just such a funny moment. I thought it was really funny, the inclusion of depressed Barbie, where she's just scrolling through Instagram for 7 hours and watching reruns of Pride and Prejudice. I thought those things were really funny. I loved the Skipper joke, and I really do appreciate that Skipper and Chelsea, Barbie's sisters, were included in this movie in a tiny way. And again, hopefully we get to see them in spin-offs in the future. But the Mattel staff did mention that Skipper was a runaway like Barbie was, and she came to the real world and kidnapped some children, which sounds very dark, but in the Barbie world of things, Skipper is Barbie's younger sister. She's a teen and her first job was babysitting. So it was kind of funny to have that little joke or that little Easter egg thrown in there. And then in Barbie Land, we see Chelsea's treehouse in the background. So I thought that was a really cool inclusion to have her sisters in there just as a tiny little Easter egg, but again, hopefully we'll see them in the future. I feel like the casting was perfection. Oh, no one can fault Margo Robbie. She's absolutely perfect, and I feel super connected to, and I know this shouldn't make any difference, but the fact that Barbie was such a huge part of my life, or is such a huge part of my life, and she was cast by an Australian, someone from Queensland where I live, like I just felt so much more connected to this brand, to this character, to this movie. I don't know, I can't explain it, but I was really proud of Margo Robbie is what I'm trying to get at there. Ryan Gosling, as I said before, he stole the show. He was fantastic, and the rest of the Barbies and Kens, all of them were fantastic in their own way, and hopefully we get to see more spin-offs with them included in the future. Despite your gender, anyone can watch this movie, but let's be realistic that the target audience for Barbie dolls and for a Barbie movie is predominantly women. So I think it was an ideal opportunity to highlight the struggles of women, to show the evolution of women and how times have changed and how people have changed through the years, and to give that message of empowerment in the fact that you can be respected and loved for exactly who you are. Barbie went on this journey of self-discovery where she learned to feel beautiful in her own skin and, should I say skin? And to be empowered to be or become who she wants to be. And that message should correlate to real life, that all of us should feel beautiful in our own skin, and we all should be empowered to do or be or become who it is that we want to be. So I thought the message was really beautiful. I thought the movie was fantastic. Sorry, that's a cringy Barbie joke, but I had to do it. I loved this movie. If you've watched it, let me know in the comment section what you guys thought about it, and can you please give this video a like, and if you're not already, please subscribe subscribe to my channel, and then head on over to my Instagram and give me a follow over there as well, please. Okay, sweethearts, have a good day. Bye.